I'm Elizabeth at the Radford Public Library, and I have a new book recommendation for you. And Story is actually here with me too, somewhere back there. There she is. And my book recommendation, our book recommendation for you today, is for Maggie O'Farrell's newest book. It is titled Hamnet, and it came out this year and just was announced as being the winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction. And I really didn't know about the history of the Women's Prize for Fiction. It was begun because the Booker Prize, the powers that be, failed to include any female authors on its shortlist back in 1991. And so in 1991, the Women's Prize for Fiction was created. So it's been going strong now for 25 years, and Maggie O'Farrell, who was born in Northern Ireland, just won it for this book, which is her 8th novel. It is an historical fiction, a fictionalized account of Shakespeare's son Hamnet. And Shakespeare had 3 children. He had Susanna, he had Hamnet, and he had Judith. And Hamnet and Judith were twins, and so this is documented. But beyond that, not much is known other than Hamnet died when he was 11. And this book takes place in the 16th century. It's set in Stratford, England, so basically during the time of the bubonic plague. And Maggie O'Farrell has created this possible storyline that goes through 2 different timelines about Shakespeare, who is never really referred to in terms of a surname. He's always called the husband or the father or the tutor, and his wife Agnes, which is spelled like Agnes. And so 2 different timelines really reveal this story. The first timeline is the beginning timeline. So as the reader, when you start reading, you meet Hamnet, who is an 11-year-old boy who is searching around the house, really trying to find an adult to help him with his very sick sister, Judith. And that's where the novel begins. The other timeline is the beginning relationship between the tutor, who is William Shakespeare, or who you infer to be William Shakespeare, and Agnes. It's when they meet, it's what their relationship begins as and how their relationship unfolds. So 2 different timelines that will eventually converge. The first timeline starting basically on the day that the plague impacts the Shakespeare family. In Elizabethan times, the name Hamnet was interchangeable with the name Hamlet. So also as you read this, you realize that it's an interesting speculation on how Hamnet's true death might have fueled one of greatest plays, which is Hamlet. One of the judges on the Women's Prize for Fiction panel says about this book that it expresses something profound about the human experience that seems both extraordinarily current and at the same time enduring. So this book, which is a novel of the plague, is an interesting read during a pandemic, but it's also very well realized. It is set back, almost more than 400 years ago, and it is such an inventive, creative story and an interesting way to imagine Shakespeare's life, his family's life. And even though Hamnet is the character title of the book, I would argue that Agnes is really the main character. The mother of this family has such an interesting perspective and voice, and she's the one who is always ever present, unlike the tutor, who is often away, traveling, doing his plays. Agnes is the one who is always with her children, and she's the healer in the community. She has such a presence in this story, and I found this book to be captivating. It says so much about grief and loss and marriage and relationships. And again, that book is titled Hamnet, and I highly recommend it. We do have it here at the Radford Public Library. If you're interested, please give us a call. We'll put it on hold for you, or you can put it on hold remotely and we'll get it out to you. Thank you so much for listening. Stay well, and we'll give you a new book recommendation soon.